Welcome back to another video. The title wasn't clickbait. If you've got 3 chest to bar chin-ups and 3 ring dips, you in fact have enough pushing and pulling strength to accomplish a muscle up. Now it's a matter of fine-tuning the 3 weak links that no other twat waffle trainer is going to talk about in order to actually accomplish the muscle up. Those weak links are going to be forearm strength, shoulder internal rotation, and shoulder extension. All of them surround the transition of the muscle up because that's where 100% of people are gonna actually fail the muscle up. In order for you guys to understand the importance of this hand position, we're gonna need to first cover some basic physics. The false grip's gonna reduce the height you have to pull when transitioning into the bottom of the ring dip. You see the same thing with people performing the lever. A lot of them like to use a false grip hand position. This is because it shortens the lever arm, making it easier. Let's talk biomechanics here for a second. The false grip's gonna place your hands in the correct position to receive the dip as you transition. If we compare the 2 positions, you can see here if we pull the rings to chest level, the wrists in the no false grip example aren't conducive to effortlessly getting in the bottom of the ring dip. Whereas with the false grip option, you end up in the most efficient position to then press out of the bottom of the ring dip. This also explains, like we previously covered, why you don't have to pull as high with the false grip. Very little of the ring should actually be in contact with your hand. I'd say 90% of the ring should actually be in contact with your wrist. Alright, now that you know how to properly set it up and the benefits behind it, let's go ahead and put it into practice and actually strengthen the false grip. My number 1 way to train it is being as specific as possible. In this case, it's going to be with either false grip ring rows or false grip pull-ups. We can also include accessory work in the form of false grip hangs. If these are too intense, you can do false grip holds with a barbell, as well as traditional forearm work with either dumbbells or barbells. Remember, if you don't have enough strength to maintain this position as you pull yourself up to the top, the transition isn't going to work. That's why I covered this first. Next one's going to be more specific to the transition, which utilizes 2 different movements. The first one being shoulder internal rotation. Lacking shoulder internal rotation and strength typically is going to lead to that sketchy chicken wing thing you see people doing when they're attempting a muscle up. Also, in my experience, most patients that have pinching in the front of their shoulders tend to lack shoulder internal rotation. There's a few ways we can improve our shoulder internal rotation. Our number 1 option being the sleeper stretch. Be sure to check out my tutorial on the specifics of the movement. I'll include the link below. Other good options are going to be Cuban rotations. Yes, I understand this is training the external rotators concentrically, but if you don't lower the weight like an asshole and control it down and focus on keeping the shoulder joint centered, you're going to accomplish this with your internal rotators. So for that reason, that's why I like Cuban rotations. The last one's going to be the other half of the transition component of the muscle up, and that's going to be shoulder extension. Shoulder extension is simply the ability to bring the arms behind the body. More advanced variation of this is going to be seen with something like German hangs. But for our topic here, when we're lowering ourselves down into the bottom of our dip, the arms are extending behind our body. My number 1 options for improving shoulder extension are going to be German squats, where you can perform this with a barbell and a squat rack. Tabletops, you want to start with your hands pointing to your sides, and as your shoulder mobility improves, you can slowly start to transition your hands until they're pointing behind you. And lastly, barbell rollouts. Here's what it can look like putting into practice everything we covered for a full routine. If you guys are looking for a more personalized approach to programming, your best option is going to be to fill out the remote programming application below and set up a free consult. Alright, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, give me that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll do this again next week.